So, what if I told you that your past doesn't actually control you? What if trauma, as we think of it, doesn't really exist? And get this, what if all of your problems, every single one, are just interpersonal relationship problems? I know, it sounds wild, but let's dive into this really counterintuitive way of thinking about happiness based on the work of Alfred Adler, one of the absolute giants of psychology, right up there with Freud and Jung.
Okay, so let's start with a huge question. Are you controlled by your past? I mean, the common belief is, yeah, of course. Most of us think that past events, trauma, your upbringing, they basically determine who you are today.
Just think about this story from the book. There's this young man whose friend has become a total recluse. He shut himself in his room for years. He says he desperately wants to go out. He wants to change, get a job, but he just can't. He feels completely trapped by something that happened in his past. And I think that feeling of being stuck is something a lot of us can understand.
Now, this conventional way of looking at things, it actually has a technical name. It's called etiology. Let's break down what that really means for a second.
Etiology is basically the study of cause and effect. It's this idea that your present situation is the direct effect of some past cause. Something bad happened to you, and because of that, you're now anxious or unhappy. In this view, your life is kind of like a story that's already been written for you, and you don't have the power to change the script. But Adlerian psychology comes along and just flips this whole idea completely on its head. It introduces this radical new concept called teleology. And here is the fundamental difference, right? Etiology says the past causes the present. But teleology, it argues that we don't act because of past causes, we act to achieve present goals. So you're not a product of your past. Instead, you determine your own life by the goals, the purposes you create for yourself right here and right now.
Okay, so let's go back to that friend who's a recluse and look at him through this new lens. Adler would argue that he doesn't stay inside because he feels anxious. No, he has a goal, which is to not go out, maybe to get his parents to worry about him. And he actually manufactures the feeling of anxiety as the perfect excuse to achieve that goal. This is a pretty mind-bending idea, right? So let's try applying it to an emotion we all know. What if your anger wasn't some uncontrollable automatic reaction to something that happened to you, but was actually a tool that you invented on the spot to get what you want? Just picture this scene. You're in a cafe, and a waiter accidentally spills coffee all over you. The normal etiological view says the spill caused you to get angry and yell, but the teleological view offers a totally different take. You had a goal to make that waiter submit, to make them listen to you right now, and you literally fabricated the emotion of anger as the fastest way to achieve it. You used anger as a tool.
Okay, so if our problems aren't caused by our past, then where in the world do they come from? Well, Adler has another really radical answer for us. And here it is. This is Adler's core diagnosis for basically all human unhappiness. Every single problem you think you have, whether it's feeling inferior, feeling anxious, whatever, at its absolute root, it's an interpersonal relationship problem. I mean, think about it. If you were the only person in the entire universe, would you even have any problems? Nope, they'd all disappear. Let's look at another classic example from the book. There's a young woman who suffers from a fear of blushing. She claims she wants to cure it so she can finally confess her feelings to a man she likes. But she's had this problem for years, so why hasn't she fixed it? Well, it's because her symptom is serving a goal. Her real, true goal isn't to get better. It's to avoid the difficult interpersonal task of entering a relationship and facing the potential pain of rejection. As long as she has her fear of blushing, she gets to live in that safe world of, if only, if only I didn't have this problem, I could be with him. It's an excuse she creates for herself. So, if we're all busy manufacturing our own problems to avoid relationship challenges, how do we stop? How do we actually find freedom? Well, Adler gives us a really powerful, practical tool to do just that. It's called the separation of tasks. And the idea is actually super simple. All of our interpersonal conflicts come from one of two things. Either you're meddling in other people's business, or they're meddling in yours. To be free, you have to learn how to draw a clear line between what's your responsibility and what's theirs. So what does this look like in real life? Well, choosing your own life path, that's your task. But how your parents feel about that choice, that is 100% their task. Doing your best work is your task. Whether or not your boss likes you, that's their task. True freedom comes from just focusing on what you can actually control. Separating your tasks gives you freedom, which is amazing, but freedom isn't the final destination. For Adler, the real goal, the place we're all trying to get to, is something he called community feeling. And the path to get there has 3 really important steps. First is self-acceptance, just being okay with who you are right now, not who you think you should be. Second is having unconditional confidence in other people. And finally, the big one, is shifting your focus to contribution, to figuring out how you can be of use to your community. Because for Adler, this is it. This is the definition of happiness. It's not about getting praise or being famous. Happiness is the simple, profound, subjective feeling that I am of use to someone. That's what gives you a true sense of your own worth. But making that huge shift from constantly seeking recognition to simply wanting to contribute, well, that's not easy. It takes a very specific kind of courage. It takes the courage to be happy. And here's the catch. This is the big one. When you stop trying to live up to everyone else's expectations, when you start separating tasks and living your own life, someone will inevitably dislike you for it. That's just how it works. So the price of freedom is being disliked by other people. And having the courage to pay that price, that's the courage to be happy. To do all this, we really have to change how we see life itself. See, most of us see life as a straight line, a story with a past that defines us and some future destination we're all racing towards. But Adler saw life as a series of dots, just a collection of moments that are lived fully in the here and now. Think of it like this. Life is not a journey to the top of a mountain. It's a dance. The meaning isn't in finally arriving somewhere at the end. The meaning is in the dancing itself, right now. Your life is always complete, in this very moment. You're not just on the way to somewhere better. So, you really don't need to wait for some perfect moment in the future to be happy or to finally start living. Your life only exists in this one single instant. The past is gone, the future isn't here yet. So really, the only question that matters is this one. What dance are you going to dance right now?